A big mistake that I see God's prophets do is that they believe that just because they have a calling, that they have been called to the office of prophet, that they can just automatically take on a certain authority, a certain role in the local churches. A lot of times you need to understand that there is a process to this, okay? Authority is something that is cultivated. Authority is something that is built up. Nobody can just give you an authority. People have to trust you. People have to know that you're a safe place. People need to understand that you are a person of character. A lot of times prophets, because they're very zealous, they're very passionate, they think that they can just go into a local church and start asking and demanding that changes be made because they want to see things done in decency and in order. But a lot of times, prophets don't realize that a lot of their work is going to be behind closed doors. Not everything that you see needs to be told to the pastors. Not everything that you see needs to be told to anybody, period. A lot of times, things are going to be for you and maybe even those closest to you to pray about. A lot of the prophet's work is going to be on their knees, interceding, praying, tearing things down, asking the Lord for blueprints, asking the Lord for the next set of instructions. It's very important that we understand that just because you have been called to the office of prophet does not mean that you are in a position right away, because you have that calling, to want to come into a local church and change things, tell people what they're doing wrong. There's things that need to be done in decency and in order. There's things that, directions that maybe the Lord knows cannot happen right now because it's not the right time. You need to understand that the Lord knows everything that is going on, everything that is occurring, conversations that are being had behind closed doors. If you are called to the office of prophet and you still cannot take instructions, you still cannot take directions, you still can't be exhorted, disciplined, counseled, then you have a lot of growing up to do. As a prophet, you are called to be a complement to the pastor. You are called to complement the other fivefold ministries. You are not called to wash somebody else's opinion completely out. As a prophet in a local church, you are called to support the pastor. You're called to be part of a team, not someone that just wants to come in because they feel like they're higher in rank, because they have more knowledge, because the Lord reveals things to them. That's not how this works. There is a time and a season for everything. A lot of times people have a lot of growing to do and they don't understand that growing and character building is going through rejection. Part of that is being stretched. Part of that is being told no. Part of that is being misunderstood. Part of that is being seen as somebody who is rebellious when truly you're just trying to do the Lord's work. You need to understand that just because you're called to the office of prophet does not mean that everything has to go your way. Does not mean that your way is the only way. Does not mean that you're the only one that the Lord gives instructions to. So prophets of God, you need to understand boundaries. You need to understand order. You need to understand that you are there to be a blessing, intercede for the pastors, for the leadership, for the rest of the church. You're not there just to try to show up to a local church and start changing everything. You need to pray and ask the Lord for wisdom and guidance. You need to ask the Lord about seasons, about timing, and about changes that are coming and things that are occurring behind the scenes.